This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Can everybody online hear us now? Perfect. Sorry about that. Okay, we are all set to go again. We did do the certification of quorum already and the proof of notice, and we also just approved the past board meeting minutes. Go ahead, James.
Thanks, Stephanie. So the next item on the agenda is the management report. And Stephanie, if you could provide that, please.
Thank you very much. Okay, so this management report is reporting on September of 2024. It was overall a really good month for the association and all happenings of the association. Just to go over a few things, the arrears report, the association at the end of September was owed $121,000. This is a little bit up from the previous month, but after doing some research, just to give you some numbers, the two top homes that are in arrears, over 50,000 of it comes from two homes, and with Lennar is just under $10,000 at this time. In the month of September, we closed on 10 homes. And for our customer care inquiries, we had 14 inquiries in total, which is really great because that number has dwindled down quite a bit. And only 3 of those inquiries were escalated to on-site management. For work orders, we had 76 landscaping work orders opened. Of those 76, 16 of them were irrigation related. 48 of them were general inquiries. 3 of them were fertilization inquiries, and we had 10 site visit requests and proposal requests from United. In the month of September, we opened 42 violations and 29 street parking violations, and we towed 1 vehicle. Architectural review, we had 20 applications seen in the month of September. 11 of those were approved, 8 of them were conditionally approved, and 1 application was denied. And just some other information, we had a meeting with United Land Services to walk the golf club and discuss some landscaping upgrades that we would like to see, so you will see that proposal in this evening's packet. We had our electrician on site for very small, various electrical issues. One in the plaza, the cooler, there was a lighting issue there, and then they also, the electricians installed outlets on the outside pillars of the plaza patio. We had SWS on site for some troubleshooting with the back gate to the pool. And we had Symbiont Services, our pool heater maintenance contractor, on site just to do some preventative maintenance on the pool heaters because we know the cooler season is coming, so we will be using those heaters a little more often. We also had SWS again on site to reset the fire panel from a fire riser panel issue. The system had tripped, so they did need to come back out and figure that out. And we also had Millennium Systems on site to discuss what it would take to upgrade the plaza's audio system. So we will be receiving a proposal for that shortly. And we had Stratus Roofing on site to perform very minor roof repairs on the Plaza Clubhouse. And we had preventative maintenance completed on all of the AC units at the golf maintenance facility, Ethan's facility. And we had commercial fitness on site to do a quarterly preventative maintenance inspection. And they did find very minor issues with some of the gym equipment. The treadmill belt needed to be replaced, and just a few other little minor pieces here and there. Other than that, everything is good. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Stephanie. Next item on the agenda is golf beautification. Terry Green, there you are. Terry Green, if you could. Now, Terry, we have a big agenda, so 5 minutes, sir.
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Camera, look at the camera.
You want the microphone?
Well, I don't know if I need it or not.
Well,
I
it's
need
just for
it.
people online.
People online.
Hello, people online. I just want to thank the board for allowing us to speak to you tonight about an upcoming and very important event. You know, I'm involved with a beautification team. This will be our 5th event. It's been a very successful endeavor. We've raised a lot of money. We've done a lot of good things for the golf course. And, you know, our job is not to try to replace capital expenditures, but to raise additional funds to make improvements. By the way, I'm Terry Green, if I didn't say that. Good to meet you, if I haven't met you. Ethan, you're here tonight. Good to see you, sir. I do want to recognize the people on this team. And I first want to say that I want to thank Lisa Butler-Burke for her previous service on our team. She's no longer on our team. We had to boot her off, but she's now on the board. So thank you for your service. But on the team is Larry Bickle, Mike Bixler, Nancy Hughes, Darren LaFay, Debbie Todd, Joanne Claffey, I can't say it, and Tom Phelan. But thank you, Lisa, for your past service. But we have a no snow holiday scramble. Now we're going out on a limb here. We're saying December the 1st is not going to snow. Dan, do you think we're safe in saying that? Okay. So December the 1st, 8:30 a.m. shotgun start. We're having a 4-person scramble. We need volunteers. We've had great volunteers in the past. We have a table out here where you can sign up to be a volunteer. More importantly, we need sponsorships. People to sponsor holes, the practice area. I won't go over all the details. We have a event sponsor, which Lisa Butler-Burke is one of those. Hole sponsor, practice area sponsor, and putting green sponsorship. If you're interested, see someone on our team. We'll be happy to discuss it with you. That's about all I have. Any questions about the scramble? How many minutes do I have left? I got a bunch of questions.
How much money have we raised so far?
Darren, how much money have we raised so far?
Well over $200,000 from the very beginning when it all started.
Over 200. I came across the photo the other day in my saved photos of 18 when it was still the core grass. And I have a current photo, and the difference between the two is just phenomenal. We went from looking like an average golf course to a resort golf course. We do have a number of projects we've identified. None of these projects are completed or even started without his approval. Ethan has to approve what we're doing, and it's good for the course. We appreciate all your support. It takes a village to raise a community and a golf course.
Thanks.
Thanks, Terry. And I'm not sure if Terry mentioned it, but there is registration online is now open. If you didn't get it, you can hook back with Ben in the pro shop. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. But before we get into that, may I have a motion to remove item D from that, which is the United Addendum for Golf Course Rib Maintenance. The reason for same is that that contract doesn't start until May of 2025. I see no purpose in entering into a contract 6 months in advance and paying. At this point, we'll deal with it at a future board meeting. So may I have a motion for removing that?
What is proposed?
Seconded.
Any discussion from the board? Any discussion from the audience? Vote?
Aye.
Unanimous? Thank you. With that removed, may I have a motion for the consent agenda items, the remaining 5?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion by the board? Any discussion by the audience? Vote?
Aye.
Aye. So passed. Okay, new business is accounts that are in arrears. Everyone have the update, only items I and 4, 1 and 4 are still left.
Yeah, so quickly, I just want to go over that. So we did, originally when this agenda was put together on, before the weekend, we had items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, 9 accounts recommended. Upon viewing them today, all of the homes were in compliance except for item 1 and 4. So at this time, we're only recommending items 1 and 4 to go to hearing, just those 2 homes.
So may I have a motion to send items 1 and 4 to fining up to $100 a day, maximum of 1,000 at the November 13th covenants meeting?
So moved.
Second? Second. Any discussion by the board? Any discussion by the audience? We have a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That is unanimous.
It's a little closer to it with the mic, John.
I'm not using this thing. The next item on the agenda is the appointments of the Covenants Committee members. I would like to table that because not all of the candidates have been informed. I think it'd be inappropriate to announce who's been selected.
Do we know how many places are open?
There currently is 2.
2. Okay.
How many candidates do we have for?
4. Good?
Okay.
Going to table that? Okay, yep.
Yeah.
Need a motion to table that?
Yes. May I have a motion to table the item?
Yes.
Second.
Second. Discussion? Discussion by the audience? Vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, thank you. The next item on the agenda is the United Proposal Golf Club Enhancement. So the board had asked Debbie and Stephanie to go review areas around the golf course clubhouse and look for areas which may need a little bit of love. So they have come back with the walkway at the front and making it a little bit more beautification there. And that is going to be an item that will be handled by United. So may I have a motion for that item, please?
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry,
Yeah, no, I'm good. I just thought we were voting on it. Sorry.
we got a motion in it. We got the,
So moved.
oh, thank you. So quiet over at that end. Any discussion by the board?
I'm so sorry. Who did the first motion?
We got the first
And who seconded? Oh, Lisa, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I had a couple of questions.
Sorry.
Yeah, I had a couple of questions. Do we not need to get other quotes in terms of making sure that United are competitive in what they're offering? And the clubhouse down at the golf, obviously we've got all of the ivy on it, which is part of the 558 claim. Is it worth us spending just over $9,000 to improve the front walkway of the golf clubhouse at this stage when we're probably going to tear all of that ivy off at some stage once the 558 goes through? I mean, that might be some time down the road, but I'm just thinking, do we want to be spending that money now, or should we be waiting until we have further progress with the 558?
Can I answer some of the questions? This is Stephanie. I know those of you online can't actually see me. I'm sitting just off camera. So just to answer your questions, Neil, because United is our contracted landscaper, the association is not required to bid out the project. It is considered somewhat taboo to do so when you have a landscaper, and reason being, if we were to hire another landscaper to do that work, it would be very hard to hold somebody accountable for if there's an issue with that landscaping. For example, if it starts dying, the company, if the company that installed it is not United, that company will point fingers to United saying, well, it was their irrigation that let the plant material die. And then United would point the fingers to the other contractor saying, nope, it's their fault. It was their lousy plant material. So to answer your question, you are not required to bid it out. And then just to clarify, the proposal is not just to beautify the front walkway. It is to do a lot of the work around the perimeter of the entire golf club. So it is a bigger area than just the front walkway. And then you guys can discuss the vine issue of the building.
I see where Neil is coming from. I see where Neil is coming from. I understand what Stephanie's saying about if there's an issue, but we also need to make sure that they're not taking us for granted. I think it doesn't do any harm to put it out there, because you never know. I don't know if that's a good price for landscaping, so we need to check it. I know we're not required to, but I think we should.
Any further discussion by the board?
Sorry, just on the vines, yes, hopefully eventually those come off. I just don't know if 5.58 is going to be 3 years, 5 years. So like, to me, that's less of a, and again, in theory, if it gets covered, I assume any damage that they do as part of removing it, they got to put it back to a pristine condition. So it could be that it could be 5 years and we'll get refreshed anyway again. But if we just wait, I'm not sure that, it could be years. Potentially.
All right. Any further discussion? Any discussion from the audience?
Just, if you could just wait a moment, we'll come to you.
Come with the mic.
Battery dead?
You gotta hold it.
On the vines, it's the first time we've talked about the vine on the building because it looks bad and it doesn't project us as a golf course of prominence that we are. What does it take to get those removed, and do we have to wait the 3 to 5 years because of what's in, or can we just retroactively bill them for removing them and move forward with getting the building painted and look phenomenal like every other golf course that we could be?
So the challenge with removing it is that's the easy part. It's what we're going to get once we remove it. So we are probably anticipating structural damages.
A little louder.
And then we're into.
Louder.
We are anticipating structural damages if we remove it. So we might be opening Pandora's box at that point in time. So we are not at this point willing to entertain, or speak for everybody, but I think that is something we first need to see how the 558 develops. And we can at that point address it then.
I think if you're gonna wait 3 to 5 years, you're gonna have structural damage. And it'll be way worse, as if you don't. The best part would be to take a 3x3 square and test the waters.
So Neil and I are with 558 attorneys tomorrow. So that's one of the items that we will be discussing. But we have to be cautious, right? It's like, even when we open up a small area to test, then it becomes, did that lead, if that area is no damage, and then you open up the rest and there is damage, when did said damage occur? So we'll be governed more by what Becker tells us at that point, but your point's well made.
Yeah, I've been looking at it for the last couple of years and going, why do we have that stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Teresa.
There you go.
Any other questions? So do we want an amendment to this motion?
I just think it wouldn't do any harm.
So
I agree. We want to make sure United are kept honest in their approach.
And it might make them sharpen the pencil too.
So which one do you want to do the amendment?
I can do it because I raised the question. I can do the amendment that we would like to see another quote for the same work that United has proposed. So I think we need to table this until we get the next quote. So I make a motion to table this until we receive another quote and then we can review it at the next board meeting.
I second that motion.
Any further discussion now? Any further discussion by the audience?
Good question. On that motion, do you already have an established policy or rule?
I'm sorry, can you just say that into the microphone, please?
Please, David.
First of all, I think that's a wise procedure, but do you have an established rule as to the second quote or third bid, whatever, how you would rule or how you would decide? Is it within 5%, within 10%? Is that in the contract with you go for the absolute lowest bid?
Not
That's the
necessarily.
question. Or do you ask United to match it?
I would say probably the latter, David, would be the best approach. Then we don't upset them for the broader contract that we have. But I think if we get somebody in that provides us with a second quote, we can then make a comparison, present that back to United and say, you know, you need to match this because this is the price that we're being quoted.
We need to make sure that we're within the market, that we're not just, we need to make sure with all our vendors that we're within the market, that we're not paying out extra just because they are there.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to do a little bit of work. Oh, sorry, John wants to speak.
Oh, John, sorry.
So the one thing that I just want to point out is this. I understand the desire to get another quote and so forth, but if you do this to individuals that we have contracts for and get their competitors, when we actually want to go to them and we don't select them all the time, there's a chance that they won't want to bid in the future or want to work with us. So you have to keep that in mind as well.
That is a risk, yeah.
We can always ask our superintendent what he thinks.
Ethan, I think you just got asked.
I can share the proposal with Ethan.
Yeah.
Really.
Good idea.
Besides that.
Okay, so at this point, we still have the motion to remove it for it. So we've had the discussion. Can we now have a vote, please? All in favor?
Yeah.
Passes unanimously. So the next item on the agenda is the Central Florida Pools proposal for the cast controllers, stenters, and tanks. This is, we have 4 water spots, 3 pools, 1 spa. And these are all, this particular item is part of our 558 lawsuit. And these pools they're commercial. In most commercial operations, these items are already in the pools, and for whatever reason, Lennar decided not to do it. Currently, the procedure is done manually, but that is not the most efficient, and it's not the easiest for ourselves to verify all the time. So the idea is to now go to a mechanical structure, and that is why we have this on the agenda. So may I have a motion for this, please?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion by the board?
Yeah, sorry, James. Same question again. We've just got one proposal there, one quote.
Well, so I did reach out to 2. I also contacted Spies, but they don't do a purchase option. Spies.
They're pool.
Okay. Spies currently does our pool like repairs and whatnot. So any of the like concrete that needs fixed or the tiles and whatnot. And Spies was actually providing the chlorine when we were in a different pool cleaning contract with our previous cleaning company. So they're very familiar with our pools. So I did ask Spies Pools for a proposal on this as well, but they did not have any purchasing options for the equipment. They only had leasing options. And in order to lease the equipment from them, you also have to purchase their chemicals. And it was just something that we're not in need of because all of that right now is provided by Central Florida Pools. with our pool cleaning contract. And I just assumed it would be much better if the association owned their own equipment rather than having to lease it.
And what kind of warranty would come with that equipment?
That I would have to check. Everything else that Central Florida Pools has provided has come with a 1-year warranty. I don't know if they offer a longer warranty with their larger equipment. I can find out the warranty information.
Yeah, I think if we're paying 20,000 for this, I think we want some warranty to cover at least 12 months, if not longer.
And also to talk to somebody that can actually give us an apples to apples quote. I understand you went to Steve's, but there's other pool companies out there that can give us an apples to apples quote. Again, just to make sure we're not overpaying.
You can make a motion.
Okay. How did you word? I make a motion, yeah, to defer the decision on item D, Central Florida Pools proposal, until we get another similar quote from a different pool.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion by the board?
Explain what it is, something that's broken. Oh,
I can.
Can you
explain what it is? Yes, so the cap controllers, centers in the tanks, it's an auto feeder for the chemicals. So this machine essentially uses a computer to read what the chemical readings are of the pool, and it will automatically adjust the chemicals to make sure that the pool is always at optimum chemical levels. So right now, what's happening is, because we do have our pool cleaning service 6 days a week, they're doing everything manually. So they're coming in, they're checking the levels manually, and then they're adjusting the chemicals manually every day. And they've been able to keep up with it because they are a larger company and they have the resources to do so. But like James said, most commercial pools, when they're initially built, they come with these systems already in place, but for whatever reason, they were not put in with when the clubhouses were built.
Any further comments from the audience? David.
Well, this is the second item in the agenda of the day that, will point by Neil and Liesel that require more than one bid. $20,000 is not a chunk of money. So does the board have a policy or rule with FSR that for expenditures like this, you do go out and get 2 or 3 bids? And it doesn't have to come, to this level. Just putting it out there, because it's not chunk money.
So on these particular items, Stephanie has reached out to multiple vendors. Some did not return bids. And at that point in time, this has been,
Yeah, I mean, I will say I did not go out and bid out the landscaping proposal simply because, like I said, that's not normal practice in association in HOAs. When you have a contracted landscaper, I'm more than happy to do that. But I did not for the landscaping get 2 bids.
Well, I'd like to comment though that even though you have a contract with United, those specific items are not part of the contract. So you will have to bid them out.
No, you don't. You're not required.
But they're not part of the contract, I'm saying.
Right, but you're not required to bid it out.
Right, but you're not prevented from getting the other. Okay. Well,
So I obtained the proposal and I shared it with the board, and I was not asked to get a second proposal.
Good, so my question to the board is whether we should have some strict policy or a more direct policy to FSR that these kind of things you do need to go and get more bids. In the case of the pool thing, we are in the pool capital of states. There's more than 3 providers. There's millions.
I would agree with you, David. I think that we should have 3 courts.
So it would be good, I think it would be good to have some maybe more strict items to FSR.
I would agree with you.
Thank you.
I got a question too about the thing. Is there like an RO, if they do it every day, manually, at the chemicals, is there like an ROI, if we're gonna go to this automated system, so we then need to reduce monthly payment or whatever that they're doing now, if we're gonna kind of ease into their job, I guess?
I don't know if it necessarily eases their workload because he's cleaning. Yeah, I mean.
I mean, that's something that I can discuss with them. I don't think it necessarily would lessen their workload. I mean, it would assist them in their workload, but I don't necessarily think it would lessen their workload.
Workload if they're not coming here on a daily basis.
They are coming here on a daily basis still, because they have to clean the pool. So they would
just not be doing
They would just not be doing the chemical adjustment.
If I something you could test.
They still have to do all the testing daily. And read the computers, get the reports, and make sure that the chemicals are being fed properly, and they do the cleaning daily.
I'm sorry to ask so many questions, but if we're going to spend money to automate something, what is the benefit to us if we're not going to get anything in return from this vendor? I work in the automation world, and I know exactly what you're asking for. So if we're not going to get a return or a reduction in the fees that we pay this company, why would we spend the money to make their job easier?
I don't have an answer. It's something that, I don't have an answer. And I don't have an answer. I don't know. Because if another company were to provide the equipment, that our company is not gonna lessen their cost. Just,
No, but again, it may not necessarily, sorry, Stephanie, it may not necessarily be another company coming in, but we need to make sure that we're at market price. And by doing that, then if we are, if it turns out that Stanton Florida Pool and Spa are charging us 15-20% more than the market price, well, then we need to speak.
Yeah.
So this just gives us
yeah,
a better picture.
Okay. No
But
problem.
I think also to David's point, if we're spending $20,000 to automate something that doesn't give us any return, it's not spending that because we've not had it for 4 or 5 years since the plaza's been open. Is that detrimental to the equipment? I know they've been doing it manually. Is there any reason they can't continue to do manually and it doesn't cost us the $20,000? That's a question we need to ask them.
So this was all recommendation by our defect attorneys. So I was asked by them to get these proposals because commercial pools standard come with this equipment. And they said you have a very good case on your hands to get this equipment as part of the lawsuit.
Maybe we should wait.
I mean, we don't have to move forward with it. It was not on my radar at all. But our defect attorney said you should get this equipment. Commercial pools are entitled to this equipment.
Okay, well, as James mentioned, James and I are meeting with the defect attorneys tomorrow, so that'll be another item we can add to the list. If it's something that is beneficial for our case or doesn't affect our case at all, and it's just a cost. So we'll have that conversation tomorrow.
I'm in the pool a lot here. And there are days when maybe the pool guy doesn't get here. Maybe the quality of water is not as safe as we think it is if they're not here. When it's automated in commercial pools, it's guaranteed through the automation. That's why commercial pools have them. It's for their protection as well.
Okay, that's good to know, Nancy.
Fair point, Nancy.
It is.
Any further comments? Good. So, we have a vote here.
Okay, so what are we voting? Voting on
Voting
Deferring
on
to-
entering Central Florida Pools, deferring it. Stephanie will get additional quotes and quotes, and then we will investigate with the defect attorney on the idea of moving forward or not with it.
Okay, sounds good.
But I proposed it, so.
I'll second that.
We already did that. We just need to vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous.
Very beneficial.
Point E on the new business, ASI proposal for the pump station. Need a motion to discuss.
Yeah, we know that.
And ASI here may present to us their recommendations and their advice.
Okay, I'll motion to discuss the ASI proposal for the pump station.
Second.
Okay. Ethan, over to you.
Hey, Rob.
Thank you.
Do you want to take a bite?
Thank you everyone for coming. Just a quick history of the pump station. It was installed in end of 2006 and into 2007. There was no roof on it. In 2007, when the project was shut down, it was abandoned for 2012. Came back to rebuild the golf course without any service to it. It's that there is all 4 intake tubes, like sucking water from the wet well, are all rusted through. There's huge holes in them. When that thing runs at night, it just stirs water, and we can't get enough pressure. We have pressure drop out onto the golf course. All the surface rust, all the valves we looked at, even the bottom of the panel is rusted. The whole thing shakes. The actual skin on the bottom of the pump station is pretty rotted away. I reached out to ASI for their recommendations. We have 3 proposals, and I'd like to turn it over to Michelle with ASI, and she can give you guys a quick tour.
Hey, everyone. So, can you hear me? All right, good. So we have 3 proposals. One is from Rainbird, one is from Precision Pump, and then one would be our own company building the skid and building the panel. I recommend the Rainbird. We do work with Rainbird Direct, so there's, we're not hiding behind that. We do work with Rainbird Direct, and it's they would provide the panel on our quote and their own. Theirs comes with 475 horsepower main pumps, a 25 horsepower intermediate pump, and a 5 horsepower pressure maintenance pump. So basically, it's one more pump than you already have. And what that does is it prevents water hemorrhage, so less jams, and that's something that Ethan said he notices. So there's one more pump. It's a compact skid, and what I've done is I've put an additional discount on that so that cost isn't going to be why you would go with one of the lesser quality pump stations. Next questions.
Here online.
No one has said they can, yeah.
So Ethan, just get I think people understand the pump station, but is it used to irrigate the entire golf course, the front 9, the back 9, parts of it? Just give them a little more background of what that pump house and all those intake and those pumps are actually doing.
Yeah, so at night, obviously pumpers come down and water the entire golf course. Basically, feeding on the sand ridge that we were at. Obviously, you guys have seen spring and fall when we do not have rain. We miss one night of watering, it shows. You get dry spots or brown areas. The pump station is basically the heartbeat of the golf course, especially on this ridge. If it does not run, then we're chasing water all day into days we actually until we actually get rainwater to help us catch up. We run about 1.2 million gallons a night. So that's on average. If we have to run extra water in the morning, we can always pump out another 200, 300,000 gallons before golf does come out. But just to give you guys a gist of how much water we actually use on this property, just because we're on that sand ridge.
And Ethan, as it relates to the pipes, are there any other options as far as sleeving them, or is there anything else besides full replacement of the various parts that were talked about?
So the intake pipe is in good condition. So it's the skid that the pump station sits on has completely rusted, and a lot of it came from the 7 years that there wasn't a roof on it. So the parts of the skid are going into the wet well, and then the pumps then suck them up, and that corrosion matter in the pump wears them out quite quickly.
Alan? Just a quick question on that. Ethan, you've done a tremendous job of getting that pump station to work year after year after year. without us having to look to do this. What has changed now that needs us to consider paying out a significant amount of money out of our reserves to get the pump station replaced? It is part of our 558 claim against Lennar. So that, obviously, hopefully we can get some compensation for that. But what's driving the decision to try and push it through now?
Obviously, the intake tubes is a major one, trying to stay out in front of it so we don't have a catastrophic failure. Once we do have a major failure like that, if tube let loose in there, like you said, if the tube breaks off, it gets sucked up into the pump station, it's going to ruin all the pumps, or could possibly ruin all the pumps. So we're just trying to stay ahead of it, knowing that it's part of the defect of sitting there without the roof on after we finally got the roof on it in 2014. So from 07 to 2014, it did not have a roof on it. I invite you guys to come down and just take a look at it. There's massive surface rust. The skin is all rusted. It's just trying to stay ahead of it, being proactive.
And Ethan, haven't you had people there at night and overnight watching the pumps?
Yes, in the dry season,
Yeah.
my assistant and I have been here until 10 or 11 at night, just babysitting the pump station, making sure we get enough water out on the golf course so that we're not trying to water during the day while you guys are golfing.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Ethan.
Thank you, guys.
Just a quick question, is the proposed job is replacing the pump as well, all the pumps? And have you looked into rebuilding? Pump?
Yeah, so on average, we usually have one motor replaced a year. That's what I budgeted for. The windings on the motor we have had done, it's the actual whole entire structure of the pump station that is actually rusting and failing. But any parts that we do take out of it, seeing that the golf course owns the pump station, we will have spare parts and whatever they can salvage for us that we can put on the shelves for any other major failure.
Ethan, we do have a question online.
Okay.
Have we done minimum maintenance on the switch gear?
I'm not sure what a switch gear is, but I budget for twice a year. We have the oils, the packings. We have a maintenance service done on the pump station that we've kept up with the last couple of years.
So it's been a while, so just a question. So when we did the reserve study, did we figure out how long a normal pump station would last? And was this already part of the budget? I mean, we're going on now almost 20 years.
Yeah.
So was this part of the budget? We should have already known this was coming. So I just wanted to know, where are we at? If we do this maintenance, are we kicking this can down the road another 20 years? Or are we going to continue to have to Band-Aid this?
Do you want to address that one, Alan, or?
Yeah, I'm pulling up the schedule. I mean, I know the it's in the reserve schedule, but it's not at the price points that the proposal's not for. It's about 3x that. I'll just check when the date was. It wasn't in the next couple of years. It was probably like 2030. So probably a lifespan of, I don't know, 20, 25 years. And again, that's actually an interesting question. Like, how long would you expect? 25 years. 25 years? Okay. And since we had a warranty question earlier, how long is the warranty on?
It says 3 years.
3 years?
It's 1 year parts and labor, 1 year parts and labor, and then 2 additional years of parts.
Okay.
This was something we looked at and discussed when the turnover committee was working on this, and this was something that was identified that it was going to come up as going to be something we had to take care of. And this was pointed out quite a few years ago back, and it was done in the turnover report, so we knew this was coming.
I think, Scott, one of the challenges when we had our assessment undertaken in terms of the overall review of the community was that the assessor undervalued the cost of replacing it. And that's one of the issues we're now facing, is that whilst we put reserves in place based upon that assessment, it clearly isn't enough to cover what is needed, which is also why we suggested we do another assessment next year of all of our property to make sure that we have a more accurate understanding of what replacement costs are going to be and the life cycle of that. And that will be something we're doing out of what's left of the turnover funds that we've still got available. So it won't come out of the HOA, it'll come out of what the turnover funds still have to have that review and be
When was the last reserve study done? When was the last reserve study done?
2022. No, 2021, I think it was.
It might have been like November 2021?
Yeah, November, the end of 2021.
And it was,
But clearly this has highlighted that perhaps it wasn't as accurate as it should have been. And therefore, that's why we think in 2025, we should get another one done out of the money we've still got out of the turnover committee.
There should be another reserve study done.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I would say 2025, like,
Yeah.
and that will adjust.
Yeah, it may mean that when we do the 2026 budget, the reserves that people have to pay might go up because of that study, but that's, at least it will give us a clearer and more accurate idea of where that number needs to be.
To go further with what Neil was saying, in our leftover from the turnover, we have 36,000 left over to refresh our analysis of expected life on these, on all property items. So whether or not the 36,000 will be enough or not, I don't know in 2025 dollars if that's actually part or all.
Question to ASI personnel. So with this proposal, are you taking into consideration state-of-the-art automation and energy management to get a better ROI and
Yes.
energy use?
Yes, so that's why I would suggest the Rainbird, because it can communicate with the irrigation controls in the field and then adjust the pump station accordingly. So they have what's called smart pump, and it's cutting edge.
Yeah, and the solar, people have solar too.
Solar would be really difficult to run that pump station.
You got storage.
Yeah. Right.
And the board, with the law, with the Lennar situation, do you have any idea, projection, what you think might cover if we're successful?
Sorry, you cut there, David.
It's a defect. They'll give us.
Oh, the 550.
For, with the Lennar law, claim, do you have any projection or expectation of what, if successful, what that might cover for this kind of defect?
So as of today, no. As we said now, I guess 3 times, Neil and I are meeting to get an update from Becker tomorrow, start to get an understanding of sort of the path forward. We're not at a stage yet for dollars. A ways away from that. So probably could better answer that question maybe with a brief update in November, but this is going to be early spring probably before we could kind of give more definitive.
So I just got a quick question too. I mean, we've been dancing around this. I know that everybody said this is expensive, but we haven't heard a budget or a number yet.
Okay.
So maybe to put things in perspective, what are we talking about?
We're talking about 350,000.
Round number 350.
Just over 350,000.
And for clarity, we had 3 quotes and they are proposing the price limit.
Yeah.
350K
Out of our reserve fund.
install.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that goes from 351 to 367, depending on the quotes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew it was expensive.
Yeah.
It's a bit eye-watering, isn't it?
Maybe they should.
Yeah, and on the 558, I mean, again, we don't have any, knowledge of success or, what ultimately that negotiation process will look like. But I think when you have evidence of we paid 351 or whatever, 350, at least you got a piece of paper in your hand that, supports your case for what you're asking for, right? Because prior to this, if they used our reserve study, they'd be like, oh, we're going to give you 134,000 for it or something. Yeah. So again, don't like to spend that money. I want to see that reserve start with a 1 or a 2. or to knock that down a little bit. But at least we have the reserve funds to do so. And again, this invoice goes right into the attorney's hands for negotiations with Lennar on, hey, we spent this money, so we expect to get this money back. Obviously,
I know it's gonna be an expense, but I honestly feel Ethan has been on this golf course for 20+ years. If he says we need this, I don't think we should doubt it. And so that's my opinion.
Can we get a name in?
Okay, yeah. I totally agree. Just a question into ASI. Implementation, what's the time period? And also, will there be any downtime for the golf course not being playable?
I'm not sure about playable, but it's
Nope.
about 16 to 18 week lead time for the station to arrive, and it takes about 4 to 5 days to take out the old station, put the new station in, and commission it, and have it up and running. So you're usually without water for 2 days.
So it doesn't take February, March.
The other part to that is we do have to give Lennar notice. They do have the right to rectify before we implement. That's right. So we will, assuming how this vote goes tonight, giving them notice probably this week. They will then have 10 days, I believe. It's 10 days to come back to us, and then we can start that clock on the 16 to 18 weeks, depending on what they say.
Right?
We be assured I won't get sprinkled on the way home.
No assurances on that.
Any further questions? On this one, Stephanie, do we have any questions online?
No, not for this.
Nope, just the comment about the minimum maintenance, and then he followed up with all electrical switchgear needs maintenance once a year.
Okay.
You do it twice a year, so.
Well, I'm not sure what switchgear is, but yeah,
Our technician does come out and he does all of the control components and the mechanical components twice a year.
Okay.
Okay, with that discussion done, may I now have a motion to approve option one?
A motion.
I'll second.
Any further discussion by the board? Any further discussion by the audience? May I have a vote, please? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Passed unanimously. Okay. So we are now into the last item, which is adjournment. We would normally have questions, however, we do have the town hall, which is going to probably open up a whole bunch of questions, I would assume. And so we are going to then take a little 3-minute break here. We will stop the recording and restart it. It will be all one continuous recording. Otherwise, we have to ask everybody online to log off and then log back in, which seems rather inconvenient. So having said that, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Okay. Second. Whatever.
What do you second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
I never saw so many people moving.
This conference will now be recorded.
Can everybody online hear us?
Echo.
That's not me.
Want to make sure everyone online can hear us. Should be able to. Can anybody respond in the chat, please? Yes, you can hear us. Perfect, thank you. Okay, so for this, I'm going to pass you over to Alan Westerman, our board treasurer, and I am going to be putting up a presentation on the screen for everybody to see.
Thanks, Wendy. So the first thing that's going to come up is on the agenda, it didn't have the quick treasury report, so I just added it to these 3 slides, just so you, and it'll actually answer one of the questions during the break on our reserve funding. As soon as it comes up. Okay, next page. All right, so if you, again, same slide, I pretty much do every board meeting, updating on the financials. I focus on the reserves now in September.
Parked, literally haven't moved. Hi.
Hi, Mom.
How
about you?
Good. How are you doing?
Okay, what's up with you online?
Understand it when you hear it like that?
Well, not really. I just can't really understand the quibblings.
Ben.
Oh. Yeah, Ben. I just noticed I got a typo here. It says June 23, but this is September to September. So our reserves on hand are 856, and that goes up by about 56,000 every month. So by the end of the year, especially if there's 16 to 18 week lead time, we'll be over $1 million, but that's going to knock down potentially by the 351. But still, compared to where we've been historically, and continue to build, and certainly in 2025, we'll be over that $1 million again. Cash on hand continues to trend well compared to prior years, at 640,000 compared to 531. The middle reserves, even though it's a small number, is starting to build up as well. That'll be over $100,000 next year. That's again for painting and roof items. As far as the quick snapshot, and I got a little advanced look into the September numbers, and I'll publish yet. So the numbers might change a little bit because they're still doing internal reviews, but broadly speaking. So on the revenue side, basically broke it out into sort of the 4 key categories: golf, food and beverage, between the Plaza Grill and admin. Golf is slightly behind budget by about 44,000. The majority of that is merchandise, 36 short on merchandise, 8,000 short on revenue. John, our controller over there, he tracks, the daily kind of revenue compared to budget. And so far for October, we're trending well. We actually lost about a week for Hurricane Milton. We lost generally the 2 or 3 days leading up to it because everybody was canceling. And then obviously we lost the 2 or 3 days when the course was a little bit wet.
Can you slow down a bit?
Robin tweeted, want you to slow down.
Slow down? Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
he can't, he's interpreting.
Okay.
He's another one.
Gotcha. I'll slow down to try to get through a bunch of slides. So anyway, yeah, so I think October, we're looking to achieve our budget numbers, or be pretty darn close, and that's even with losing a week to Hurricane Milton. Plaza slightly behind. If you look at the numbers, though, again, we had over 100 select the 900 prepay. And generally what that means is you get less expired credits each month. At the end of December, we'll get a number. I have no idea what that is. But it'll probably be a little bit lower than last year because we are seeing an uptick in sort of utilization for people coming to the plaza and spending at least to the 900. And we'll come back to that in the budget. And compared to last year, we had 197,000 of expired food credits versus 141. So our revenue is actually a little bit up when you start to take that out of each of the numbers. As far as the grill, we're behind a bit. I don't think that will fully recover, but I think we'll nick into that a little bit by the time we get to the end of the year, and we'll be well ahead of last year, probably to the tune of $40,000 to $50,000. If you look at the comparison to 2023, you can see we're well ahead of that, where we were down 194,000 to budget. And then if you look at the expenses, this actually tells a pretty good story at the moment. Although I think that golf number will come down a little bit because there's some seasonality and even spending as well. And the plaza negative, that's really related to wage issues, adoption of healthcare, some headcounts, and some overtime. And the grill is slightly favorable, and admin is slightly favorable. So again, if you just sort of think of the revenue, off 50, and then the expenses plus 315, we're sitting at somewhere in the ballpark of 250 ahead of budget currently. And I would expect to end the year ahead of budget as well. So I think that tells a good story for 2024.
Thank you, Ron.
I'm not the one selling this stuff, so I'm only reporting the numbers. Yeah, good. Thank you, James. Thank you, John. Thank you, Ben. Okay, so just pause there. Any quick questions? Okay, into the budget.
Keep up the good work.
Just quickly, just a quick note. I am unable to monitor the chat right now because I have the PowerPoint. Okay, perfect.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
So just a quick one, and this is a slide that has been around for 3 or 4 years, but just to remind people, and obviously we sell 75 to some of the houses, so we get a bit of turnover. There's generally 3 associations within the community. There's the Master Association, the Country Club, which is us, and the Oasis Club, which is an offshoot of the Master. 3 different legal entities, 3 different boards. I kind of think of it as like SeaWorld, Disney, Universal, or Disney. All this is covering is the Country Club. Sorry, this is covering the Country Club, and it's probably, in my opinion, the largest component. So as far as our Country Club amenities, obviously we know there's the golf course, There's the pool amenities, the north pool, the pools here at the plaza. There's the pickleball, the workout facilities, the indoor one, the outdoor one by North Pool, the golf green, the bocce ball, et cetera. There's the plaza restaurant, the golf grill, and then included us are mandated as various services, landscape, cable internet, home security, and then obviously just general community administration. What we are not, which is the master, is the tennis courts, the gates, and the security gate attendants through Ramco. And obviously, it doesn't encompass any of the Oasis operation, which are the 2 Oasis facilities in the community. And there's a few other HOAs, but those are related to the retreat. So it's a big community, and not everybody fully understands that there's 3 separate HOAs they pay into. And the other one we're talking about tonight is the country club. We have no idea what the master is going to propose for a budget or what Oasis Club is going to propose for a budget. Which would be, I think master will be some meeting. I think Oasis just shows up one day and says we're going to be whatever. So I don't think Lennar is required to hold a budget meeting.
I was still saying, just slow down.
Slow down? Okay, I got to slow down more. All right, so very quickly, just a summary of the proposed 2025 budget. So for the sort of lot size homes, the standalone homes, the proposed monthly increase, depending on if you're 40, 50, 60, or 80, it ranges from $21 to $23 monthly, or a 3.5% increase. We're proposing no increase in the $45 monthly common area reserve funding. A couple reasons for that, even though we're having a big expenditure potentially coming out of there. We do have the 558 in play, and at least my thinking, and I think shared by the board to some extent, if we are successful in that, a lot of that money would go back into the reserve fund. We might put some into operating, but the majority of it would probably go into the reserve fund because we're asking for a lot of the things that are covered in that reserve study. We're proposing to keep the $75 plaza food minimum the same, so there'll be no increase in that, and it will operate the same as in prior years. So it's plaza only food and beverage, not gratuity or tax. If you prepay it by December, we can prepay it full 900 by December 13th. You must be current on your account, so we still have delinquent accounts related to plaza spending. So if you're not current on your account, you won't be allowed to select the prepay option. As in prior years, if you prepay, that will be valid for the full year, expiring at the end of next year. However, if you do select just the $75 monthly option, that expires at the end of each month. Then just briefly over to the villa side of the slide. So the villa proposed monthly increase is $22 or a 3.3% increase. Same bullets to the left with regards to the common reserves and the plaza food minimum. But for villa specific items, villa owners will remember last year we had a $250 assessment for the first 2 months. We split it $125, or you can pay it all at once. That will not be recurring this year. And again, no increase on the $65 a month villa reserve funding.
Can you run the government?
Yeah, I wish. Okay, so then this is another schedule that we've used pretty much in every budget town hall we've ever had since inception. But basically, it just lays out the various components that are shared. So the first 4 administrative services, golf course, golf grill, plaza amenities, plaza restaurant, those are just divided equally among the 937. So if you're a villa, it's 937 times 92, 40, 50, et cetera. The only thing that is allocated individually or based on lot size or specific to the villas is landscaping. And with regard to the villas, it's landscaping, irrigation, and termite service. So then that just sums down, you divide by the number of units, you get the monthly assessments, and you add on the common reserves or the specific reserves for the villas and the plaza, and you get what your final monthly assessment is and your proposed or our proposed annual assessment. And then I just put the little table at the bottom related to the 2024. So just very simply, you can see that a 50 lot was 605 last year. It's going to go to 626, hence the $21 increase at 3.5%. Again, just another way that people are used to seeing, how the assessments come to fruition as far as individual units. Just going back for 1 second. Sorry, stay on that page.
Yep.
So one of the things we always get posted on Facebook or questions. If you look at the villas, that along the middle line there in bold, the 2025 proposed assessment of 693. Looks like it's higher than the 80-foot lot. And everybody always says like, wow, we got the smallest footprint, why are we paying more than the 80-foot? That's actually not the case because there are shared costs that come through the HOA related to the villa that don't do the same for the individual lot sizes. So on the next slide, to put it on an apples for apples basis, if you just picked out the landscaping for villas, that's 66 versus the 125 on the other page, then you're getting down to an apples for apples, and you can see that the villas is truly 577 versus 621, 626, et cetera. So on an apples to apples basis, you'd expect the villas would be the lowest monthly assessment. But then there are things that come through the association like Townhall irrigation, build the association and allocate it out, whereas all the individual 2050, we pay that directly to Townhall. Townhall bills me, I pay Townhall. It doesn't involve the association at all. Same thing with any kind of repairs. United comes, my pipe breaks or whatever, they come and fix it. I pay them directly. With the villas, it goes through the association. Same thing with the termite program, I pay home team directly. It goes through the association. So again, when you put apples to apples, yes, the villas is the lower of any of the other units, but overall the amount looks higher just on the surface until you get a big. On to the next slide. So this is the value proposition for our services. And again, I'll talk to some of the noise we hear around this, but so we obviously include Spectrum Bulk, which is internet, cable, and phone line, SWS, which is the security monitoring, landscaping for the units, and then landscaping for common areas. So in our budget, that totals $2.3 million or $206.71 a month. If you just, again, take the 50s example I used before, which is 581, you subtract the services, the 374 is what you're paying to cover all the other amenities and overhead in the community. Now, if you go to the right side of it, I know from when I've lived in New York, I know from other people I've talked to, if you just look at the cable and try to replicate what we have with, the DVR3 cable boxes, 400 megabyte internet, and phone, and I know a lot of people would drop the landline if they had the option. But on the low end, you're looking at $99 plus tax. On the upper end, it's like $249. I used to pay $270 in New York. I think Lisa, you said in the Highlands you paid like $280 or something.
Yeah, it was, my Verizon, just for TV phone internet, was over $300.
Over $300. And this just happens to be a bill of a resident who doesn't live in a community that provides Spectrum internet. And this actually doesn't include any of the boxes or a DVR. It's just Spectrum has a streaming TV service plus their internet. So $213. So you're not too far off from the $267. Point being, though, that the value that we have through this negotiated deal of paying $64 is quite good. Again, if you lived outside the community and had to pay that directly, it'd be a lot higher. And I encourage anybody that has friends or family just to, prove that out. SWS, again, I know there's probably 150 homes that don't use it, don't have the equipment, haven't upgraded the equipment. For me, I've got one of the old analogs. Whenever I open the slider and the alarms, it goes off. They call me within 60 seconds. So I'm one of the lucky ones that it works for. But I think we've estimated 600 it works, and maybe there's 300 it doesn't. And Stephanie's been meeting with SWS to try to rectify that. But if you went out to ADT, you're looking at $49.99, at a minimum, if not higher. But again, on the low end, I just kept it the same. I think you can get Simply Safe for $9.99, possibly. Landscaping, I was actually encouraged to raise this. I left it where it was last year, but if you think about what you would pay to get somebody to come in the community for not just lawn cutting, but trimming, mulch, our favorites, the chemicals, kind of like the fertilization, the weed control, and then the trimming of like palm trees. Again, Lisa, I think you said 175 you're paying?
Depending on the palm tree, they'll go from $45 up to $175 per tree.
Right. So again, if you factor all that in, you're probably not getting somebody in the community for $50 a week to do all that for us. So again, if you sort of value that either the low end or the high end, landscaping common, I just kept that the same, because I'm not sure how easy it would be to get, a company to just do little, all the stuff around the plaza and stuff. If they didn't have the bigger contract, it'd probably be more expensive, but I left it that. So on the low end, the value of our services are probably in the low threes, and the high end, we can make an argument it covers our HOA costs, which is kind of what that other side does, is that, we're actually benefiting because we save so much in the services, it would cover our. I know people will argue, hey, I could cut my own lawn, I can trim my own, bushes. But the reality is, as we all tend to age, you're not going to like doing that in 100-degree weather. Some people wouldn't have security, some people wouldn't have a landline, so there's obviously all those arguments. But just on the surface, if we try to replicate what we have, there's significant value there that I don't think we fully recognize. And I know, Lisa, when you sell homes, you've got to try to point that out. But there's, it might seem in comparison to other communities, IHOA, when you actually do the value proposition and do the math, it's actually a good deal. So on this one, basically just sort of showing you the revenue sources. And the other thing I will point out is the board is proposing taking some of the surplus. So we ended last year, I think, about a 221,000 cumulative surplus. And earlier, based on my September review, we think we'll end up with a surplus again this year. So we're looking to sort of, give back 100,000 of that to help kind of keep the HOA assessment down to that 3.5% range. And the way to do that, because generally it's a zero-sum game, right? We budget to break even, and then we cross our fingers to see if we get there. And if we don't, depending on how big the loss is, we do a special assessment. If we're ahead of it, that's great. We put it into a little, kind of operating fund. But, at some point, you don't want that growing to be too large. You want to sort of use that as a fund balance mechanism to return to the owners. And you can see the resale activity, that's the 2,000 again on homes, plaza revenue, golf grill revenue, and golf revenue. And then by sort of expense type over to the side, and then expense by net functional area. Again, you guys can sort of look at this, at your leisure. Next slide. So this one is just trying to say, okay, when you look at those amenities that we have here, the plaza restaurant, the golf, and the plaza non-revenue generators, the pools, the pickleball court, the gym, et cetera. This is an estimate of what it costs each month to fund those amenities. And, the plaza one's a little unique because we get a $75 minimum food credit, so it's not just an HOA assessment. You actually get some value if you choose to use it for that. So while it looks like it's the highest number on the page, arguably it's significantly less than that because you get the value of food credit. If we were to try to fully eliminate that sort of plaza subsidy up there, that 296, we generally need our homeowners on average to spend more than the 900 a year, right? And a lot spend just to that 900. Many spend none of that 900. Some go way over. Some go way over. We're thank you for that, and please continue. Or just go to Giovanni's. But basically, you need an extra $44 a month, give or take, for residents to spend if you wanted to see that subsidy go to zero. And that's when factoring in, cost of goods, et cetera. We're starting to show sort of like the golf grill with the golf course, because you really can't have one without the other. The grill wouldn't exist if the golf course wasn't there, and I think people who go down and play golf, especially our public players, expect to at least be able to get a beer, a soda, even a water, something, hopefully lunch, dinner, et cetera. But those kind of go hand in hand. And then we'll talk about, we've got separate slides on the golf, but basically, in order to maintain our sort of budgeted subsidy level at the 955, we need to average $55 a round across all play, member play, and public play. And then the amenities at the bottom, again, that's all the other items listed, $36 a month on average is what we're spending for those. So that's kind of a summary of breakdown of what the amenity funding looks like. Next slide. So this is, it's going to be hard to read online. So this is something that we sent out this afternoon. So the first thing is to try to look at, we all know we got the golf course. What is our capacity in rounds? So basically all we did here was saying we've got 10 minutes between our tee times. We got 6 tee times an hour. We try to do it 18 hole rounds for, from when you can, actually tee off sunrise to where you can tee off and still finish. So in January, if you tee off by 2 o'clock, as long as you play fairly quickly, you can probably get 18 in. There's some months where probably you can't tee off at 7, you probably can't tee off to 7:20 because it's too dark. And again, interspersed here would be 9-hole rounds, et cetera. But you can see the little doesn't factor in course closures, weather closures, et cetera. So it's basically just a broad view of what is that capacity for, six groups times 4 golfers an hour. So if you look over to the right, that's about 68. So just round to 70,000 is our course capacity. Right? That's how many rounds we could do if we filled every one of those with 4 golfers. We've never come close to that, thankfully, because I think everybody was complaining about the shape of the course and the weight of that. But I think you'd be shocked if we put 70,000 people through there. We've generally averaged right around 40. So if you look at 2022, we did 40,176 rounds. 2023, 38,000.
Still asking if you could slow down. James.
38,466 rounds. And then you can see year to date what we've done in this year compared to the prior year. So again, in 2022, we're just shy of 30. 2023, we're at 28.5, and now we're just over 30 for 2024. So again, we think in terms of roughly 40,000. We can increase that a little bit, 41, 42. We might be a little bit below that, but that's kind of the mindset of how many rounds do we do in a year.
Alan? Can't hear you.
Okay. You think the microphone affects that?
Might be.
All right, I'm gonna try without the microphone. People online.
Yeah.
And I'll put this one closer to me. All right, so if you can't hear me in the back, just speak up. Okay, so that's our round.
Yeah, Laura says it's better without the microphone.
Okay, good. I like it better without a microphone too. Okay, so that's our sort of course capacity and what we've done historically. So then if you go on to the next slide, sort of why we need to balance member and public play, right? And I to help frame things, at least for my own purposes, I try to think in extremes. So the top part of this schedule, and it's a little bit crossing between 2025 and 2024, but the budgeted course maintenance, Ethan's team is about 1.9 million. The pro shop expenses are about 1.5 million, total 3.4 million. Then we have our revenue that offsets that. So merchandise revenue and swing revenue or golfing revenue. And that's how you get to that subsidy that was on the other page when you back off the golf grill. So in order to meet our revenue, and we're this year budgeting about 40.
Hear you in the back.
Sorry, we're budgeting about 41,000 rounds. Yeah, so Campbell, the problem is the online people can't hear me when I use the mic, and
We got plenty of seats up front.
Campbell, we have a seat right here in the front for you.
Yeah, thanks, Mark.
Come on, we have about 5 seats available in the front row.
All right, I'll just talk louder. So basically, the 2.3 million divided by the budget rounds, we need roughly $56 on average per round. So again, thinking in the extreme, like let's say all we offered was card fees. So like kind of like the way I play golf, pay the $29 plus tax. So to meet our $2.3 million revenue at $29, we would need almost 80,000 rounds. Impossible, right? Can't do it. Trail fee members, kind of similar story, 2.3 million. If we had the 1750 pricing, I'm just assuming 100 rounds on average would be 1750. And if you calculate those number of rounds, we need 130,000 rounds, or we need 1,315 members. So again, that's not feasible either. Annual pass holders, a little bit better because we charge them more. But basically, again, assuming 100 rounds, $76 on average. Calculated number of rounds, 30,000. So that's doable, but we need 303 of them. We've currently got 13. So again, doesn't seem like it's in the realm of possibility. So that's why we balance between public play and member play. Member play being, obviously off the average rate of 56, public play being higher than that. If you go to the next slide. So just wait till I finish. Yeah, we can go back.
You said $56 per member play.
No, $56 is the average we need across public and member play. So we need $56.
Members don't pay. It's that 889, right? The member golf?
No, I'm saying members, when you factor in cart fee, like I pay $29 to pay, or you pay trail fee. So like in that number, that 2301 isn't even the subsidy. Like in other words, what all the owners, golfers and non-golfers pay is the 900,000. That's not even factored into this. I'm saying you take that as a given that everybody in the community is going to share that 900,000. We need across member and public play to average $56 a round. And if you just think of me, cart fee, like I'm obviously below that, so I create a gap, right? I'm creating a gap that we've got to make up with public play. So my 56 less 20, public has to be above that to make up for that shortfall in the revenue line. So then if you look at sort of the targeted splits, right? So this year, we're estimating we'll just, trail fee rounds will be just under 12,000. So for 2025, we're thinking about 12,500. Need to sell somewhere between 175 and 185 to meet our revenue target of 330,000. The member card fees, 6,500. Again, need to sell 6,500 to meet a $200,000 target. Annual pass holders, our target's 100,000. We think they're going to, again, do about 100 rounds on average. I think put 80 into this. So we need to sell 15 to 20 of those. And that's going to give us a subtotal of $630,000. The rest comes from public, right? Could be member guests, could be other, but basically public play is going to make up the other half number of rounds. So again, if you look at the round side of it, roughly split 50-50 between what I'll call sort of member play and public play. And then the revenue obviously is much higher geared towards public play, right? So we need the higher public play to reach the revenue number. So then just quickly on the trail fees. So all I did was sort of look at, total trail fees, roughly. Again, some of these are round numbers, and we've had trail fees where people have left the community or they bought in on a prorated basis. So think of this as like a full-time equivalent. So if the actual number today might be 181, but this is like an average of 176. But again, there's the rounds played through the 18th, estimated rounds. The revenue and the average rate per round. And then if you look at the top 25, playing, over 100 rounds on average. I think our top one is now 234 through yesterday. And then on the bottom side, and again, you can see the average rate. So again, the more rounds, you're paying $17.50 and you divide it by 100, you're paying $17.50. If you divide it by 200, $8.75, et cetera.
Are we allowed to ask a question?
Just if you just wait, I'm almost through. Yeah. I've only got a couple more slides. Thanks, Scott.
Yeah, because there's also some here, so.
Yeah. So then if you look at the bottom 25, this is a little bit like the healthcare or the health club, where they've signed up but they're not playing as many rounds. So they're averaging a higher rate per round. And again, the risk with trail fees is depending on the price we establish, how many renewals we're going to get, how many people are moving out of the community, how many people are moving into the community. They pick a different option. Again, they look at what they spent in 2024 and say, yep, absolutely signing up. Or they say, well, didn't play as much as I want to. So again, we set a target and a goal, but it's a little bit of a thumb in the air, fingers crossed kind of thing to see how many people we will actually get to sign up, either renew or new trail fee members. And then on the annual pass holder side, so basically, this chart is just showing, for 2025, our pay-as-you-go public rates, January through December, sort of the low end and the high end. And again, we've assumed 100 rounds. We divided it evenly, but obviously you got to add a couple of rounds. So we just added to the low end month of August. So again, on the low end, we would get from a pay-as-you-go, 7,600 give or take. On the high end, we'd get almost $10,000. So again, assuming you can fill those 100 rounds, now the pass holder, if they were to pay the 4,500 plus play 100 rounds, that would generate 7,400. So again, pretty close to the low end, but we're losing out a little bit on the upper end with a prepay pass holder versus a pay-as-you-go public play. Obviously, the pass holder also gets the benefits of participating in tournaments, the discount, early booking, things like that. So again, what we try to do when we think about the price for the pass holder is like, where is that balance between, I think historically it was a bargain, and we didn't raise it for many years, and all of a sudden we took this big jump up, almost 90%, I think it was, which I think shocked everybody. We lost a lot of pass holders, but it was really just trying to get like, what is the value out of being a pass holder? Because again, they don't assume risk on pump replacement and other things like that. So you got to figure out what is that right price point. And the other thing that holds true for both the trail fees as well as the pass holders, we don't have the same need we had years ago on getting a bunch of money up front to pay insurance and mulch in February, right? Because we used to have a $250,000 mulch bill and a $250,000 insurance bill. We now have those mostly spread out through the year. So we don't have that same like need $1 million of cash in, November, December timeframe in order to fund operations to get us through, into the summer and fall. And then on the upper end, all I did was just say, if they played 150 rounds, what would those price points be as well? So again, just try to put a little analytics around, and then we'll obviously debate a bunch of this. So then what the, I don't know, do you want me to cover this or you want to keep going? So what we're proposing for the trail fee would be $18.25 per cart. So that's a slight increase from the prior year. If you prepay by November 30th, you get an extra $100 if you pay after that. We're saying for a second trail fee member in the household using the same cart, we'd actually have a discount on that. So it would go down to $1,500. So you wouldn't be paying 2 singles. And again, discount if you pay early and a little bit more if you don't. Club cart. So this is, again, if I chose to not buy a cart, but I wanted to have a trail fee, but use the club cart, $25.75. Again, if you prepay by November 30th. And then we're also proposing a new non-trail fee usage of a personal cart. So people who have personal carts but don't want to buy a trail fee, maybe they don't play that large of a volume, $26 per round. But obviously you still have to pass the inspection, et cetera. You can't have a gas-powered cart or any of those kind of things. So again, giving some more options to cart owners. And then the club cart fee, so kind of like what I pay, would be $31 per round, single rider, unless demand requires otherwise. So generally we run into issues with pairing up and people complaining that I pay $29 when I'm single, I pay $29 when I'm paired. So we're saying now we're not going to try to pair people up provided there's carts available. So if for some reason we've got, it's full out all day and they need the carts back, we may have to pair people up. And then the annual pass holder would be $4,600 plus the cart fee, so just a $100 increase on that one. And then golf handbook, every year we update that, et cetera.
That club cart trail fee at $25.75, but an annual pass holder buy that.
Yes.
And have the full vote for the year.
No, because that would be pricey. So the $25.75 again is because you're a member, you live here. So
Then it should say that, but that's ambiguous if it is.
So yeah, so we can clarify that, yeah. Because you, as a pass holder, because that would be like a huge discount for a pass holder. Not incur so the members obviously again incur all the risk of the club the course closure on a hurricane, the subsidy that we're all paying, plus the reserves and probably a few other things. So we will clarify that.
So the only option for outside pass holders is pay card as you go.
Well, again, I think we may offer a full prepay. We haven't talked about that, but I think this year was $9,000 is the full prepay.
Well, there's people who have rental obligations that have already committed for the winter. They need this information in order to make a decision.
Well, that's this amount tonight.
Yep.
Okay. Now, before you start, Tate, do you want to answer something?
Yeah, can I just finish off the.
Sorry,
I mean, I only got like a couple of slides left, and then so that was golf, and then just going back to the pooled reserves. We're at 800 and we're 855 right now. 2 potential items. You've heard about the pump house and previously talked about the pool hull. Again, hopefully that doesn't come to pass. Keeping it the same, and we talked about the reserve study. I don't think there's anything on the villas except for, there's no anticipated spending the rest of this year into next year. And then the last slide, besides the appendices, are just, what our opportunities and risks are, and they're pretty standard. We've got some opportunities on our POS functionality to drive revenue growth, marketing spend for additional golf revenue, golf policies. We've recently put in a prepay with Golf Now so that, people can't just no-show anymore. We already got their money in-house. And then cost-saving initiatives, one of the ones we need to continually look at is our IT support structure. And the risks are, we miss the revenue, collections delinquencies go up, healthcare benefit adoption rates, inflation assumptions, unexpected events. And then all that's in the appendices are by sort of main functional area, kind of like what are either a major vendor spend or a major spend by category. So kind of like what we're spending with our different, tell you, sorry. Oh, okay.
You want to handle
So a lot to go through. Let's handle the online first.
I'm just going to do the online ones quickly, so and then we can open it up, if that's okay. There was a couple of people asking you to slow down too.
Yeah, sorry.
And it was much better when she stopped
with the microphone.
Jeff Anderson, outside members spend money after golf and events, we're losing revenue. Jeff, $840 per month, this is getting out of control, budget cut this year. He says, find your 3.5% cuts. Then he talks about the outside members. Cindy and Ken, maybe I'm not following. Does golf seem to be funded by green / cart fees, and do dues go towards the course? I just answer them. I just go through them, then you can just discuss them.
Okay.
The last one then is, it looks like we have the same issue with trail fee members as we did with the annual pass holders last year, where more than 25 pay a ridiculously low rate per round. Why not just charge a straight fee for using personal carts, as we don't seem to have the cash flow needs we used to have? It would be equitable based on use for everyone. Also, why not charge tenants more for golf than residents? And that's all I have at the moment for there.
Okay.
Well, let's wait in there. So, in no particular order. So the charging tenants more to play. We talked about that. It creates a dual class, and really, there's not a lot. Like, I mean, you're chasing it. It's kind of.
I think we'd have to change
very complicated, and we'd have to change some of our documents. Yes.
Definitely don't want to put renters in a different category.
100%.
I think they're the same whether there's a renter.
Yeah, and I believe our documents don't draw a distinction. So once you've assigned those rights, they are like a homeowner.
They are stepping in.
Yeah.
Yes.
Correct.
The trail fees. So for the last 5 months, we have been trying to find a way through 4Ts to cap the number of rounds. The system does not allow it. So other than going manual, which we know will not work, but we have asked 4Ts to come up with a solution, because if we take the fee of, let's for argument's sake, leave it at the $18.25 for right now, right? The numbers that we've discussed is anywhere from 100 to 120, and then after that, you'd have to reset and pay a different fee. We need to monetize some of those rounds. We have, let's be clear, we have trail fee members, some of them, that are down into the $5 or $6 range per round, which is not acceptable. It's not sustainable. So we have to be able to address that. That problem is actually also exists with our annual pass holders. When the new APH was set up, it tried to eliminate the large volume annual pass holder. So what we had talked about was, could we get an annual pass holder? If you remember, Alan said $55 average round, and about $10 per the cart is our cost. So we were trying to come up with a 50 round package, an 80 round package, and we beta test, and it doesn't work. It does not work in 4Ts, right? But John here is going to figure out how to make it happen, but that is months away. So we have to live between now and then. So we hear these comments and we are trying to address them, but we don't have a solution for the top end, and that's a 4Ts restriction, because we'd pull that trigger now.
There's one more on the.
It's about charging per cart.
Charging per.
As opposed to a trail fee, was that what the question was?
So this was just right.
Why not charge a straight fee for using personal carts, as we don't seem to have the cash flow needs we used to have? It would be equitable based on use for everyone. So basically, I'm saying take the trail fee out and just charge everybody $26 plus tax, or $31 plus tax.
So we talked about that.
We did.
Right? And it was, so as we adjust that rate, we know roughly member play that has your own card is around 12,000 rounds, more or less. If we take that rate to a certain level, what is the result? What's the unintended consequence? Then you have the question that gets asked on that is, what is the consequence for a round in January versus a round in August? They're really different. They're really different price points. One of the items that isn't up there, we also looked at taking the 12 months and you choose. You have your own card. You want to buy January, February, October, whatever, or June, July, August. And it's like, again, it's an administrative difficulty, but we can't be bashful. We can't shy away from something because it's difficult. It's got to make sense and it has to deliver the revenue numbers. If we lowered that and did that, and we ended up short on the 330,000 for trail fee, where would we make it up? And is it reasonable? So then we have to balance that. We also have to be realistic. When Alan posted the 25 low players or low volume players that are trail fees, it's not sustainable for those people to continue to pay $200, right? And from a personal standpoint, I found that if you own your own cart, whether or not you have a trail fee or not, we are better off if you take that cart and pay $26. You save $5, our cost is $5 less. Sounds like an easy win. That we can actually do with our system because we can call you, I don't know, we have trail fee depend PFD, we just make another letter at the end. I don't know, whatever it is, but we can get that. So then is that the segue into the other? Maybe, but we have to see how it all goes. Is there any other ones?
The other one was how much is,
A couple more, but you want to take some from the floor and then we can go back to
there's
here.
a subsidy one.
Sorry?
There was one on how much are we paying in our dues or,
Yeah, that was, Jeff reckons the dues are very high and maybe try and find a 3.5% cut somewhere else.
840 is the total of the master and the Oasis. Yeah, it's not just.
They don't know what
We don't know because we don't know.
No, but he's saying what he's probably paying now or close to.
I think 3.5 in this inflation we've got here, we're paying for cereal and eggs. This is.
I think one thing Alan didn't say either is that of our major contracts, built into those contracts is a 4% per annum increase every year. So for us to now have a 3.5% with those 4% increases is actually a really good result.
She's got two right here.
She's got the mic.
So are we saying that those who have annual trail fees, you want them to play less golf? And I want an honest answer.
So from a pure financial standpoint, yes.
If they're paying 6 rounds a week.
From the golf.
I'm asking this question because of this. Yes, there is wear and tear on your golf course, but in actuality, it's our golf course.
Oh, yes, yep, we recognize that, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
They are not using your equipment, so there is no wear and tear on your golf carts. Correct?
Correct.
So when you say,
Yeah.
like our club carts.
Yeah, club carts, yeah.
Right, it's all on our carts.
Yeah.
They are going in and checking in with your staff, yes. Being pleasant, those kinds of things. They may or may not be using bathroom facilities. The other maintenance, yes. Groundworks and things like that, which is also covered in our HOA fees and the other things that we're paying for. But if, and it's not me, because I don't play, but my husband does. He loves this community. He loves playing 3 and 4, sometimes 5 times a week. You're basically telling him he's playing too much for the amount of money that we're paying in trail fee, in our HOA fees, and the other parts that we are contributing into our community.
Don't think anybody's stopping anybody playing. It's just a mess. It's just show.
Yeah, so when I answer your question, purely on a financial basis.
And I understand finances, because that's what I.
Oh, yeah, no, so if you're playing 200 rounds, right? And we get a prepay of, say, 1750 at 1825. If I can do the math, no math better. So that works out to 875 a round, right? So now all I'm saying is purely on a financial basis, if only played 100 rounds and we sold the other 100 rounds at
But you're not
80,
filling all of those rounds either, because there's many days.
but we can't,
we
yeah.
have openings.
Oh, yeah.
But we could, yeah, but we're not, because we're also not maximizing the amount of money that we could be selling to the public. Because if you look around to the other courses around us, they're selling their tee times for higher dollars than what we are, and we have a beautiful course, just like those around us.
So you're saying that courses right now in this area that we would compete with, be it Southern Dunes, be it whatever, right? That we're getting less than what they are?
Yes, yeah, guarantee it, absolutely.
I compete with them.
They
get over $100.
So the question though too is how much of those are sold versus just advertised, right? Because again, we look at our competitors.
I can Reunion Resort. I know for a fact, because I worked there, because I am a ranger and a master starter there. I know what my tee sheet shows every single day. I know what they charge every single day for every round. They have a peak and a non-peak season. Their peak season, they are on average 192 plus a round, and they are sold every single round.
Get 81 bucks.
But they're a vacation.
Right, they're not.
Yeah, a lot of people in here play. They got all the big names.
Yes.
And the whole
And again, so in peak season, we're selling, I mean, we've had over $200 rounds. I mean, I'd say we average probably what, 159? Again, so again.
We had a guy with 48 yes.
48.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes rates. We'll go with that. My question is to this gentleman, is that you're gonna cap the number of rounds you can play? You can legally do that.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yes, you
I
can.
don't think so.
Section 17(1), paragraph 3. Yes, I can.
I've been looking for a lawsuit to happen. If you can't have a number of rounds.
Okay,
I'm not here from May to September. You're gonna tell me how many rounds I can play from September to May? I don't think so.
Not here, we want to be hoping that big round.
So we have to balance. So hang on. Look, at the purpose of today is to have a discussion, right? To get to solutions that can meet the needs of our golfing population, our non-golfing population, and our financial obligations, right? And when we look at this, I too am not here full time. So your issue is no different than my issue as it relates to when I play. I understand. I'm playing in January, February, March, and that's when we can sell them for the most. I get that. So at some point, we got to balance this a little bit. And when we say cap it, we're looking at capping it. We said we're beta testing to kind of see if we can, first off, we don't even have a system that will do it. But do we want to explore that option? 100% we do. Because I don't know what it's going to tell me. And until I know what it's going to tell me, but right now what I know is the top 30 people, right? How much golf they play? We have couples that play over 350 rounds combined. Like today, we have 60 odd days left. I don't know. I don't like we have when we look at these budgets and it's how much it is. We can't lose sight of the fact that we still, as an HOA, as a community, subsidize golf to the tune of 900 grand, right? We can't let 900 become $1.3 million, $1.4 million, $1.8 million. It's not sustainable. Your HOA fees that you want to go down, that's no path for that. So when we look at that, what are the options? That's what we're here for. What are they?
Or chased away 70 pass holders at $360,000. I don't know,
257,000.
whatever, he still chased them away. Good people that were spending money in the clubhouse, in the pro shop, they were on the golf cart.
So hang on for a second. Let me answer that. Because this week, I don't know what day it'll be, but this week, the revenue from golf will exceed 2023 December 31st total revenue. So to go back to that, we'd be struggling for the next 2 months.
Yeah. I got just one question, the club car trophy. I think, that's a mistake, just because, you were talking about, personal cars, paying as little as $5 a round, and how much complaining, you're giving the homeowner an option to buy the club car as a trophy. I think that's gonna put another $5 round player out there. And then I think you're also gonna have people that are entitled, I paid a trophy, I get my own car, so now I got 4 club cars out there playing around. Rather than putting 2 in the car, trying to eliminate the amount of traffic on.
So we already have the club car annual fee. It already exists. It has for a number of years, right? Yeah, not everyone has a garage that can house a golf cart, right? The villas, for example, it's complicated there, right? They are 92 units of our community. We have to, we don't allow them to park in the driveway. We don't allow them to park in the backyard. We have to be a little bit to think of this. Then it's an investment of, what's a golf cart? 15 grand, right? Does everyone have the 15 grand? Maybe, maybe not. Is that an option? I hear you on the, right, but right now we're down to 1. We had 2 or 3 that took this option, and then I think they bought their own cart, so we're down to literally 1 player. Right, but.
Yeah, no, all right.
Questions again?
Please. Got a couple of questions for you guys.
Go ahead, David.
Oh, thanks. A couple of comments and questions too, because I think that, you remember we had an episode last year where there were a lot of decisions around the golf course that were very divisive. We had a lot of chaos and bad feelings, and things changed, right? And I think that, what we've been discussing here about targeting a certain number of people because they're playing too much is also going down that path, right? And I think that there are different ways to solve issues. Right now, you agree, and you showed us, that the golf course is in a good position financially, right? We're making the numbers, including those 25 people that you're targeting to reduce their play. So if things are working out well, and you already presented a budget for next year that includes those people, then what are you trying to accomplish? Because if you're trying to cap the number of rounds, how many rounds are you trying to take away from these people that are enjoying the golf? That will add how many cents to the budget? And the other question too, I would assume is that looking at the data, that these 25 people are probably playing in the mornings, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe not Thursday because they're giving away to the public people. So we're not taking it away from public play that will bring the highest amount of revenue. And so the question is, are we taking it away from other members that are playing? When they can play somewhere else? I mean, the afternoons is pretty tight. I have not had an issue playing here. Besides, I'm not, by the way, I'm not 5. So the point is, are we looking for a divisive point when there's no need, when there's no adding anything to the bottom line? You've already included that in your budget. So I think that if you're looking for additional revenue, then you should look at the number of rounds that you're budgeting, because if you compare to other golf courses, how do we compare to Southern Dunes, to Highland Reserve, et cetera, in terms of the utilization? Our golf course sits empty in the afternoons. It does. Do we have any initiatives to sell twilight rates, to bring more people to make up for that revenue that you are discussing? So my point is that there are other ways to skin the cat without creating divisiveness in this community. All right? That's all my point.
So if we kind of take that apart a little bit, we're not targeting anyone. We're exploring what this means because our fear and where we want to, because I think you say it all the time, do we have a vision, right? If those 30 turns to 90, turns to 130 people, then where are we at? At 30, it's manageable. At 130, it's no longer manageable, right? Will we get there tomorrow, next week, next month? No, but we need to know, first we need to know if we have the system that can do it. And then if it doesn't, what's the unintended consequences of doing so? Because you're right. When we look at these people, a lot of them play at 7 a.m., literally at 7 a.m. Are we going to sell that time? Probably not, right? So do we understand that? Sure. We also have some that play every day at 4 o'clock and they go out after work. Are we going to sell that time? Again, probably not. Then when you ask it, the question of what are we going to do to fill the times in the afternoon? Well, we read Facebook too. We lower prices, you shoot us. We raise prices, you shoot us, right? I get it. You want to shoot us, right? But I mean, we're not a price maker here. We are a price taker. We have a golf grill that can accommodate how many people? 30?
No, it's 100.
Right? And so when you compare us to Reunion, right?
No comparison.
We're not that. We are a good product, right? We are a balance, to quote him, a delicate balance between member play and public play. And are we there yet? No. Are we closer? Yes. Do we have a ways to go? Sure. What that will look like? I don't know, but we have to make a budget right now for 2025. So we can only use the tools that we have available to us.
Question? I think you've answered the question, I think my point to you again is that you're looking for a problem that doesn't exist yet. Okay? Because you already set up a budget, including all of these issues. You already have. So why would you be achieving by targeting? I mean, really, you're targeting. I mean, you put it out there.
I'm not putting this in play for 2025, but I need to understand it. We need to understand this as a board.
Then it's fine. That's fine to do that. Have a process of how you will do it. But it sends a message, right, that you haven't approached the problem. My point to you. You already have a budget, right, that reflects an increase over the prior, meaning this year that we're doing, that includes all those players. So you already showed some opportunities about marketing, doing some marketing, I guess, to bring more teams. I didn't see anything about, trying to get more play during the summer, and I see the golf course empty. So I think there are other opportunities to explore to bring more revenue without upsetting and, I call it targeting again. I'm not including that because I don't pay that much. But, it's just something that I think you need to take a look at. And I think it's premature to have that discussion,
Thank you, David, for your comments. I'm going to ask some simple things. The $26, does that relate to spouses too using a trail fee card?
So it's, if you own your own cart?
Yeah.
If I can use you, so would that include Mary? Yes?
Yes.
If you did not take a trail fee, it would include both of you.
Beautiful. Okay, so the only, this is just a comment, not a question. I think single riders and carts, if you talk to Ethan or anybody that runs a golf course, I think there's people here, lots of wear and tear on both the cart and the course. I think our courses back home would never allow a single rider on the course. So anyway, that's an opinion. Okay, so we're not. Next thing is the increase in the budget for food and beverage. I noticed it's up about close to 80,000, and as of the end of August, which is the last statement I see, we're down about 95. So I'm just wondering what's your thoughts on how you're going to increase food and beverage revenue for next year? Is there something specific there?
James, John, you guys want to feel that or?
Yeah, obviously just based on, I'm gonna give an example of this weekend. We had a very, very good weekend over at golf that generated a lot of revenue. The goal is to achieve that goal is to work very, very closely with golf in terms of the more golf events that are gonna be happening, the bigger food and beverage events are gonna be over there as well. That's really the target, the community. We saw a great turnout over the weekend. I believe we can continue that. Your continued support will also help generate revenue as well. I know during the summer it has been very quiet, but whatever we can do to enhance any more social events down there, a little bit more entertainment down there as well, that should generate a little bit more foot traffic coming into the grill, drinking beer, eating burgers, enjoying the menu, and then obviously whatever we can do to enhance the menu to make it a little more fresh for you guys on a regular basis and not trying out the same stuff over and over again as well.
James, can you say the capacity is like, it's a 4-burner grill and the Blackstone?
Yeah, exactly. We took advantage of a busy Thursday. We had Blackstone out there on Thursday for maybe 4 hours. Probably saw the best revenues. Try to start with that. We will continue to do that. With the right scheduling, we should be able to do it, mostly at the weekends as well. So those kind of little things are definitely helping, especially during the high season. That's definitely going to help generate revenue. Obviously with the 4-range burner that we put into the kitchen as well. As you noticed, we only had a camping burner, which, again, we're known for good breakfast. The efficiency was a problem. We took care of the efficiency problem. We're starting to see more, big parties coming in over the weekend, even non-golfers coming in for breakfast, which is great to see. And that, kind of enhancement in regards to equipment definitely helps the efficiency with turning tables. People are seeing that, okay, well, this is a good spot for breakfast. Let's come in. Let's have a full breakfast. Let's have a breakfast sandwich. Let's have a nice burrito, which I kind of have like 3 times a week. But again, we're capable of doing that. Just little tweaks, be creative, being able to find ways to generate more revenue, to be more efficient, is definitely going to help achieve those goals in 2025.
Okay, thank you. The other little note was, I was just looking at your 3.5% increase. And when I did my math, I don't know if you have different math now, but when I look from 485 to 506, I come up with over 4%. But I don't know if how you got upon that.
Is that factored in the 100,000 of the sort of surplus fund balance? That's probably the difference.
The extras, but anyway,
So that's the increase on the
when I
revenue.
looked at my bill going from 485 to 506, it came up to over 4%. But anyway, that was just a note.
Sorry, Scott,
And the
which-
last comment was on the golf. When I looked at your stats for the top 25 users, they look like they use the 25 people out of 176 use over 30% of the whole rounds for that whole group. Is that what you're saying?
Sorry, say that again?
So according to that number that you threw up there, we have 176 trophy members, and you're saying the top 25 guys use over 30% of all the rounds for the whole year. Is that true?
That's funny math.
Up to 12,000.
That seems incredible, that 25 guys
So the
out of
top 20
176 can use over 30% of all the rounds for the whole group. That's amazing.
So I can only speak to the top 30.
And what is that, 30?
37,
Yeah, I've got
42, but my numbers
31,
as of
10.
yesterday.
So it's over 30%. Yeah, that's amazing.
Anyway, that's all.
Yes.
Sammy? Thank you, sir. I just want to say a couple things about all of this. I've been here, going on 9 years and seen a lot of change. We got the greatest golf course in this area. Can't sell that short. And that's part of the reason the annual pass holder rates had to go up. None of us liked it. I lost a lot of good friends temporarily. However, what doesn't show your numbers, a lot of those annual pass holders we lost are now back playing here again. You want to know why? Because we have the best maintained golf course in the area. That's what they're back here. And they're paying a higher rate now because they realize the value. We do have some of the annual pass. In regards to the trilogy, yeah, I think that goes with a fair and equitable number. It's fair for everyone. I'm not against the cost per round like you're talking about. That's a possibility. You can find a way to manage it. That's really the only fair way to do it. If you want to use the toll roll, 5 to 417 to 429, what do? You have to pay for it, right? You use Highway 27, you use I-40, you set the traffic, you don't have to pay for it. We all pay the same tax base rate. Do we all use the same roads every day? We don't. So you have to find numbers fair and equitable. 1825 is fair as much as I want. It may not be fair for everyone. You have to decide your case, is 26 around better for me than 1825? Or come up with a way, if I had to pay $26 a round, I'd have to get the budget increase. I applaud you for what you're doing and looking at all the numbers. It's a difficult balance. Never gonna make all of us happy all the time. We have a great community. It's well managed. We have a great board that I feel good about, and props to all of you.
Hi, first off, I appreciate the financial analysis that is done for the golf course, because I think that makes it easier for everyone to see when you have the hard numbers. I just wanted to ask, so the $26 per cart fee, is that something you're considering for 2025?
Yes.
Okay.
For the non-trail fee.
Pretty strong consideration.
Yeah.
Okay. And when others comment about the fairness of the trail fee, yes, some do use it a lot. We're on the bottom 5%. We bought a trail fee. I appreciate everybody's input. I do think everybody needs to recognize that we're in a community where we have people all across the board, retired, not retired. We now, post-2021, post-COVID, we have a lot of people who work from home. I know a handful that work from home and then can go out and golf when they get their free time. And my husband happens to be one of these. We pay a trail fee because last year that was the only option to use our own car. But yeah, we're truly subsidizing others at this point. I do appreciate all the efforts in trying to make it fair for everyone. We are an HOA community. We all pay the fees. That's part of the fairness in our community, is people forget that, one, this is an HOA community. And so it's really just one big bucket of money and how we spread it out for different expenses that we have. But I applaud the board, and I just wanted to confirm that, the $26 in consideration, because I think that may be something we would consider. But thank you all for your hard work and the analysis you've done. Appreciate it.
I just want to go back to that single person riding in a golf cart.
Just hold it close.
I just want to go back and talk about that single person riding in a golf cart. If you see me out there on the golf course, chances are I'm going to be in a cart all by myself. If you see me on another golf course, I can be golfing with a foursome. Chances are you see 2, 1, and 1, because I prefer to basically ride in a cart by myself. I will even pay
additional fees to ride in a cart by myself. Because when I'm playing golf, I want to focus, I want to concentrate. I don't want to hear yak, yak, yak in my ear, I'm getting ready to
That's how you win.
So if it means that I have to pay more to go out and play solo or play with friends and be in a park by myself so that I can focus and concentrate and enjoy my game, that's exactly what I do. Here, if I bring people out, friends out, they told me in the pro shop, well, Dee, you're gonna have to pay more because you want to ride single. Not a problem. Here it is, take it. So when you see me out there, just know that I paid to ride in that golf cart.
Southern Dunes won't give you keys, so you have two people in the car.
No,
Southern Dunes won't give you keys.
no. I play Southern, no.
Not true.
I play Southern Dunes. When I walk in there, I say, I want my own park, the only thing you're gonna do
So
is
they
park.
get our
They used
system.
to charge me $12, they went up to 20. I don't ride in a park with somebody who check.
Unless you pay for it, they won't allow you to.
No.
Right there.
Okay, so this is quick. Dan wants to go home. We've been here almost 2.5 hours. Hey, to piggyback on what she was talking about, the trophy, making it equitable. Everyone has to decide for themselves if that 1825 is gonna work. Dan did it this year, had some health issues, probably wasn't the best choice, but we didn't know that was gonna happen. I didn't take it. I paid the $29 off of his, or 31, whatever it was. But it worked out for me because I only golfed 25 rounds. And I don't know if anyone's really saying we're targeted and we're gonna cap them. Maybe the issue is, all right, at 1825, what is the number? We say, okay, you divide it, what is it equal? Huh? 70. Okay, so if it's more than 72 rounds, or if it's more than 100 rounds, let's establish that. I won't call it cap, but the cap for how much the trophy will pay. Then possibly, okay, if you play more than 125 rounds, pay an extra $5 to go out there with your own golf cart, but that makes it equitable for everyone. I don't think anyone's trying to target anybody and say you can't golf. That's not our society. I hope that's not what we're saying.
But he sounded like he was
That's
saying.
not what he.
That's not what I'm saying. I said specifically you pay more.
Yeah, pay more. Yeah. So thank you so much, Warren and Alan. Great job on the budget.
Can I go through some of these?
More?
More online.
Few more. Okay. hang on a second. No, sorry.
Thanks. Appreciate this opportunity, listen to everything, all the comments that I have to say. I've only been here about 4 months now, and I do appreciate the board and all the comments. Great shape. I really do like it. Last couple of weeks I've played only in the afternoons, and it seems like every time I go, it's helping out. And everything I've heard is that this is a great rate. $56, $58 a day. They thought it was really good deal as far as steel. So, you know, if you went up 15 bucks, I think you still probably keep the same number of people. I like the opportunity that if you can have like a twilight fee, I think that, you know, generate a little better. So I have one question. I know that everybody has some phenomenal golf carts. I get to see them, they got great wheels and everything. What about any of us have an opportunity to get like these elevate electric golf carts that don't have a roof on top? That's just it's a Swedish cart. It's got 4 wheels. Or maybe I don't have as much room in my garage as some other people do. Because I want stuff. My wife wasn't that. So either that or maybe the 3-wheelers or something of that nature other than a full-size golf cart that has a cover on it. Because if we do, I have no problem at all, you know, signing up with it.
So as it relates to that, currently that cart, those carts that you described wouldn't meet our requirements, but I'm thinking from what you're saying, maybe we need.
Hard to hear.
So those carts that you just described currently do not meet the standards that have been set by the club. But what I'm hearing from you is we probably should take a look at we should take a look at whether or not we need to revise what an acceptable cart is. So do you want to circle back on that?
Yes.
doesn't want to.
I don't know.
What's the name of the car?
LWE. It's just a golf cart around.
LWE. See the.
As soon as that sky opens up.
Some questions online.
Can I go through the questions online? Frank Riviere, based on the loss of outside members this past year, can we offer, and he's talking about the annual
Pass
pass
holders.
holders, can we offer them a one-time discount of $500 to come back? With the new rate, it might be a decent incentive. Hang on, I have a few more.
Is he asking for 41?
Frank,
He's asking 4,100.
yeah, I'm assuming it's previous owners, I'm assuming that Frank is saying the previous pass holders, if we gave them a discount to come back of the 4,600. You and I talked about it.
Yeah, so again, from a pure revenue standpoint, that's not logical, right? Because we can fill those rounds more than 4,100.
They come in, they bring in, and then there's booze and the food. Maybe it's something to look at.
So I guess
It was an 8.
Neil and I have been talking about this, that maybe one of the options available to us is, after we get through the budget, would be to reach back out to the previous pass holders and give them December, because, oh yeah, that's 12 month. Remember how we used to have the pass holders expire 12 months after we bought it? Our system doesn't do that, right? We have to go January 1 to December 31st. So that's why we had 2 new ones.
So you give them 13 months for the price of 12.
We're gonna, yes, that's what it's something that we started the conversation about. We don't know what the impact would be to us financially, either good or bad, so we're not there
I think
completely
it'd be
yet.
a good idea to look at incentivizing them in
Well,
some
that's,
way.
yeah.
Okay. And as
Talking about golf being too cheap, not because you're gonna make it even cheaper.
No, this is
No,
the annual pass holders that you were talking about.
And if they play 100 rounds, what's gonna happen? $41, $15 below the average that we need to make.
But you
Not feasible.
were saying earlier on you'd like them back.
Well, the
So
way it was.
if you like them back,
the way it was
Casey,
was
you can like them
76.
back at a higher number, or do you not want them to play the, so you can't have your cake, eat it, and make trifle.
Yeah. And as,
We got 12.
and as James has mentioned earlier, we've already surpassed the money we made in 2023 this month. Already surpassed revenue for golf this month for over 2023.
I don't know.
So that didn't make
Your
any
numbers
difference
say
at
it
all.
does, But what I see on the course.
The numbers say what they say.
Okay. Sorry, I'm going to go
Keep
back
going,
to
Lisa.
these questions. Somebody, I'm not sure who that is, a solution is just pay per round.
Yeah.
The next one then, Robin Tweedle, this is for you, Alan. Can the treasurer confirm that there is a proposal when you have your own cart that passes golf handbook protocols to play, $26 per round, and not then pay a one-off trail fee? So this is what,
Yes.
Yes.
That's per person.
I think, yeah.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
It sounds like a per car.
Somebody else says charge everyone, that's M&M again, I don't know who that is, charge everyone $26 a round. Then Cindy and Ken, I think she's made a typo here. Course out, so it's tea times and not sold out, so it shouldn't matter. I'm not sure what that is. Jeff Anderson, please let Ben Johnson explain to the board the Engelbrook golf policy. Let the board and the homeowners hear the differences. And Eaglebrook is an HOA of golf course. Robin Tweedle again. On the budget generally, could the treasurer explain why the golf and pro shop salaries increased to 1.9 million against a likely outturn of this year of around 1.5 million?
So
That's that one.
yeah, sure.
The microphone.
No, I got it, because apparently the microphone doesn't work.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah, so there's 2 components to the increase in salaries, and it's mostly in Ethan's maintenance group. But one component is benefits, so more of the first service employees selecting benefits, not just a pass-through to us, but it's a fairly...
That's the healthcare.
That's healthcare, yeah, sorry, healthcare benefits. And then the other increase is generally in Ethan's group, and that's to bring market adjustments and to avoid loss of personnel to other courses or other landscape companies.
Okay, again, this is Robin. I don't know if you can hear me. On the budget generally, in the budget you have split the food and beverage revenue and costs for plaza and golf drill. Can this continue in the management accounts for 2025, as well as showing a similar level of cost detail rather than the broad brush numbers currently reported?
Yeah, so John and I are working to try to revise the financials because they're a little clunky to read, as we all know. So I can't commit that we're going to get that done, but yeah, the goal is to make them easier to read and to sort of group them the same way that we would put the budget together.
And then Robin's asking, are we taking any questions from people online? So I hope he's had them all answered.
Hey, Gene.
Yeah, question. I think it was in a previous board meeting, there was something mentioned like 300 out of the 937 homes had golfers that golfed in prior years. Have we any numbers from prior years to see if it's growing? Because I thought it was mentioned that if we got higher up to like the 400 households having people golf, there would be tee times and there would have to be caps on played or private club or all that sort of thing. Do we have any numbers for how many households are playing? Is it rising each year?
So when we say playing, do
Are you
we
talking
mean
trophy or-
one round? Like, I mean, how many, so we look at the number of rounds in a year. And our member play, us, is in and around that 20,000 number. We're about half member play, half public play-ish, right? So is it changing? Not really. But does that mean more people are golfing and golfing less? Maybe. I don't know that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know that. But I know the total rounds are roughly much change.
You can see the member rounds per year, though, it's changed year to year. You can see the direction of that. Although we went back last year for this year, we tried to get more outside play, so that pushed it down a little bit.
So traditionally, member play is kind of contained within certain time frames, right? And they tend to want to play open till 11-ish. Then there's a gap, and then there's another little surge, and then there's nothing. And really what we're all talking about is the nothing. Like when we get into that 1 or 2 o'clock, the beginner scramble, that stuff, the birdies and beers or
Yeah.
right? Those types of things are great for us,
They're 4 o'clock.
right? And we need more of them, but member rounds haven't really altered much.
Yeah. Probably a little bit down because slightly higher public play.
Thank you. Frank, online, I love you, Ben, but I'm going to vehemently disagree on a pass holder. I think they should be paying through the nose or buy a house in the neighborhood.
Some have.
Yep, some have.
Yeah.
Quick question. Where the trail fees are due by the end of November, can you guarantee me that you'll pass my check before 6 weeks?
Oh.
That's a John question.
I paid early, it took 6 weeks to pass my trail fee check last year.
One of the changes is we've got a check scanner on site, so we.
Immediately.
We do that all.
So the trophy, that's fine. I mean, that's not my complaint or my question. The 1825 is reasonable to me. My question though is, have you looked at raising the price around what it is now?
So that.
Yeah, so, I mean, we're constantly analyzing that pricing, and I think right now, I mean, we're getting $179 around on Thursday, of last week, so.
You come closer to the mine.
Is that 179 per person per round, or is it should be, because I got, it's $109 right now for 11, between opening to 11 o'clock.
Right, so we're putting a price out there, and every couple of hours, Ben is going in and Ben, John, Kevin are watching the pricing and bringing it down. If the slots are filling up, price static. If things are slowing down, they'll start to bring the price down a little bit to try to attract those last minute buyers.
But you're not paying, you're not paying $179 from hoping to let.
Correct, that's our starting point, okay? And then we dynamically bring the price down as the twilight hours start to go cheaper. You start pushing up against that window of not being able to get fully clean. We're not gonna charge you $179 at that point.
I get that, but you're not charging $179 right now. You know what I'm saying? It's $109.
Depending on the day, yes. So if you go to golf now,
So, no, 179 in January, February. It's only done. That's cheap. That's
Make mental note, maybe dinner with Arnold Hummer. Is your price? I was working.
Lisa, any other questions online?
Yeah, while you're at is the board going to go back to committees?
Is the board what?
Go back to committees.
Back to committees, you know, like the golf committee, the facilities, that type of thing. So who said that?
We haven't really discussed it.
No, okay, well, just let them know, it's this person, we're not sure, we haven't discussed it. Anybody else while John is looking up?
Hey, Ben, on Thursday at 8:30, Champions Gate, it's $89. I'll golf now. 89 at 8:50, 150 goes between 40 and 69. So just to confirm that the golf now pricing is less. Very low.
Campbell?
so just to ask the register, the $26 trail fee, okay? And it says that the carts will have to be approved by the golf course. Everything else, I get that. But will the cart also have to be registered in the beginning?
It has to be anyway.
No, they're not. So they're not all, not all ready.
You need to have a sticker saying, yes, this cart has been registered, it has to be insured.
Yeah, you have to, I think you should have to, in January, you should produce your insurance and the fact that you have a registration.
That had been the policy, whether or not it was completely false. But the stickers, can I talk about the stickers? Because this drives me crazy. We pay $1,000 for each color of those stickers. And on the gold stickers, our revenue is nowhere near that. Like, we need a better option. I don't know what it is, but like, for us to pay $1,000.
In carts driving around here.
I know.
Weekly email that they have to be registered.
That like different registration.
And they're still driving around here.
Yeah.
They show up and these space parking spots, and nobody knows anything about it.
Right, I know. Or you see the 6 forward facing that park out front of the pro shop. And it just, like, I have little hair left, but like, when it falls out, I know that can't be registered. It just can't.
We start allowing them to use their own carts in the course. We need
Right.
to make sure
Yeah.
they're registered.
And have
They're
insurance.
right to be.
I think this, I know you don't like paying for stickers, but I think it's probably the only way that we have that the Rangers
Sticker
can
on the
see.
license plate.
Yeah,
It's like a,
Rangers can
like a
see.
year, yeah.
Right, on the rear stick, yes, we did. But the thing is the people that aren't putting the stickers on right now and aren't registering, like, how do we find them?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, other than Stephanie going 80 miles an hour.
And I will say that if I find out that a home has an unregistered golf cart and I can identify the home that it belongs to, they are sent a letter.
Okay, we do have a database that we started.
Yes.
It showed
Yes.
all the golf carts
Yes.
that are in this community. It's not gonna be.
In the country club community.
In the country club.
Because we have rockets that are in the retreat.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And we can't, like, I mean, when I say rockets,
That's a different protocol.
They're not
We
going
have
to
a
think.
database that says what the golf carts are.
at that moment in time, that's correct.
So we can use that as a starting point.
Correct.
If you still
Yes.
have this card, then you have the register.
Correct, yes.
There's your starting point.
Yeah.
Correct.
And I think as well, when we do it in January, if we do this with the 26th, that has to be the first thing. You cannot go out without a without it being passed.
Yeah.
I also have a big issue with kids driving around the community in golf
Well, that
carts.
was gonna be my next one, is
I want to know, if one of those kids crash into me, who's responsible? They're under 16, they shouldn't be out there,
No, it shouldn't be out there in the first place.
you know, and I know we can't police it, but maybe there needs to be a note going out saying that, you know, you cannot go out in a golf cart on the public street. I know it's private street, you know what I mean, without being of age.
Having a license.
Yeah, license, you get 16 license.
16, well, 15 they can get provisional.
Problem ends up being just a community where it happened. Child was in the park, park, killed.
the other question I have is about our POS system. When it was sold to us on the premise that we would be able to use it across the community, when is that likely to be used for 75 bucks? We can use hard on file.
I take that one. So the
Use hard on file. I want to use 75.
right, so that's two different things, because that 75, if we include the golf grill, we would probably have to revisit if we're allowing people to use 75 at the plaza and include the golf grill, right? What that number would look like, or if it would change at all, I don't know, but we would probably have to revisit that. When we look at the POS system, one of James's biggest problems he has right now, when you go to mobile ordering, for example, he has to, they don't talk to each other. It's the most bizarre system I've ever seen. Now, he's rebuilding, and we launched it, or are we about to launch?
I'm in the process of rebuilding the menu on the app itself. So it's tedious, because you have to remember, we're putting in not just a menu item, we're putting in the prompts for, say, give an example, burgers, temperature, bread, very same way as we ask to trade when you're grilled. So it's very tedious to rebuild. It's a work in progress. You might not see me for a week because I'm just head down to the computer, but that's the type of work that we have to do to get it working efficiently. To be able to use across the country.
Sorry.
And then when we get to the pro shop.
Can you use the mic, because people online can't hear?
Got you.
For me, it's Campbell.
Oh.
Well, the rear, you should just.
I think that's great. I think rebuilding the app for that. The problem with the app is, I know pass holders can't use it. I know pass holders can't get into the app. They don't have the privilege to use the app. So I'm going to say it's a mute point to rebuild an app that we sell something that those people can't use.
So what you're referring to is the challenge that we're having with 4Ts being a forward-facing and backward. Forward-facing is beautiful. Backward-facing, which is all these issues, right? You really should have gone with Jonas at the end of the day. That's the act.
Not what they promised us.
But we're now down a path that, can we fix it? 4Ts has been extremely responsive to us, but they can't even handle the 900 prepaid. Like, when the statements come out and they're wrong, right, and it comes to the HOA office, it doesn't even touch the HOA office for that problem. It's actually in 4Ts, right? And we're trying to figure out how to get that. When we look at, going back to your purchases at the pro shop, right? So one of the things that we get weekly, if not daily, is someone will go in and they'll be me, and they're saying that we're playing with my wife, and I'll bring Bobby, who's my buddy. And we're trying to figure out how we get around all of that, which is, do we need to have your picture on the POS, which was the original thing? It pops up and in the pro shop and it goes. Then we also have the other problem is, if you go in and spend $2,000 in the pro shop, what's our backstop? Because now we have $2,000. If your card on file is no good, we find out 40 days later, and that's a non-legible item, where are we at? So then it becomes collection numbers, which become a challenge. So we hear you. Believe me, we hear you. We're struggling, and we're going to tick one off at a time. and then we'll get there. And it's not completely smooth.
Just over with us.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kevin.
I have no more questions.
No more questions?
Yeah.
Anything else?
We're all done?
We're good.
Good.
Let's
Well, we
go
never
on the
called the meeting.
Right.
Yep.
So then, do I have a motion to adjourn?
We never called it to order, did we?
We didn't call it wrong, it's only a
You didn't call the town hall? Did you call the town hall? to order?
Town hall. We don't
Call the town hall to order?
order.
Typically.
Yeah, it was
I mean,
town hall.
we said we started it, right?
We don't know.
Apparently
Town hall.
Stephanie did.
Sorry?
You did?
Called it to order.
Oh, did she? Okay,
Okay.
okay. Well, I motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second. Oh, second.
Third,
Fourth,
fourth.
fifth.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks a million for everybody, for
Yeah,
especially those who stayed.
staying
And
around.
thank you for everybody who stayed online.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Those online and doing other things.
Thank you, everyone. Just as a quick note online as well, this video will be posted to the community channel. Thanks very much. Have a good night.